This video is sponsored by KiwiCo. More on them later, but right now, let's take a look at some of my favorite tools. Hey everybody, out of Savage in my cave we're going to talk angles today. And the first angle we're going to talk about is 90 degrees. This is a square. It's a little machinist's square. And any maker of any kind of the physical realm has probably half a dozen of these in your shop. There are wood squares, carpentry squares, speed squares, squares that help you build stairs. And all of this is because a 90-degree right-angled cut is probably the most common cut in all of engineering. So squares are necessary to have to be able to check your squareness, check your parallelism, etc. But today I want to talk about the other angles, all the other 359 other angles. Well, actually, technically 90 is the same as, yeah, anyway, doesn't matter. I want to talk about finding angles in the shop because in my experience, there is not just one tool for finding angles in the shop. And the reason is because of the ways in which we interpret, in which we have to interpret and extrapolate angles when we're making stuff. So let's say you've got a chair and you want something to come out of it at like 30 degrees. It's pretty easy to just go get a compass like this, and like you did in grade school, use this compass to draw out on a piece of wood a 30-degree line and extrapolate it out. But sometimes you've got to take something, a physical thing in the shop, and figure out at which angle it is coming out. And there are all sorts of different ways to do this using math and trigonometry, but there are also a million measuring instruments for figuring out what angle is going on. Because sometimes you'll have an architectural detail in your house where something is stuck out at a slant and you want to transfer that and replicate it exactly. It's just, there's so many different ways in which finding an angle can be difficult. One of the first tools I think a lot of young makers buy is one of these general angle finders. This compass has 180 degrees marked out on it. And, you know, wherever you want to set your degree, you get your angle here. Now, unfortunately for me, this isn't really great for carpentry because I don't have a lot to work with there in terms of that shallow angle. I prefer bigger things to draw against. But this is quite a useful square. But you also might find that it doesn't get into an internal corner well, in which case you might want to use the one with the rounded tip. Again, these are really one of the first small angle finders we use. Then General came out, or this is Craftsman, came out with this, which gives multiple different ways of finding angles from different places. And I've even had this one fail for me. It's even got a guide on the back for actually figuring out what angles you want to do. It has a center finder, which frankly, I think is asking a lot to kind of align this up and use it to find center. Actually, let me pause there and talk about finding center, because this is actually one of the more useful angle finders to have in the shop. And this is simply a 90-degree cut with a straight ruler that splits that exactly in half. So from there to there is a 45 degree, from there to there is a 45 degree. And when I said finding center, this is one of the best ways to find the center of a circle. So you just butt it up against that, draw a line, then turn it a little bit, butt it up against it again and draw another line, then turn it a little bit. And you do that several times, and what you will find is that if your object is round, all those lines will intersect through the actual center. Really, really valuable tool to have in your shop. Again, it's not like I have in my head a use case that works for each of these. It's that each problem that presents itself to me in the cave about how to transfer an angle from one thing to another has frequently required more than one measuring tool. I will also go on to point out that these two are this and this are great form factors for finding angles. This is actually, especially because it goes through center and you can put a pencil mark through that little little, what do you call that, eyelet there. I really like these because you're also, every angle has an opposite, has a complement, and that can get you into trouble in terms of, you know, realizing that, you know, your 60 is my whatever, because every angle can be named with two different values. These really help you, from a maker standpoint, understand how those values relate. They're 180 degrees offset. And I just was using this to figure out the eyes of my raptor. These are both from Prestige Medical. I honestly have no idea where I got these. They're spectacularly useful, and I go to them more than most of the other items. But these are all also, frankly, I love myself a clear see-through ruler. They're much more useful than a metal ruler because you can actually line up to stuff on your drawing rather than line up to the edge of it. And I just find that's a much more positive measurement. I guess as medical devices, these are for, like, I don't know, testing curvature of the spine or the range of motion of your various joints. I don't know. Welcome back, makers. I wanted to tell you about today's sponsor, KiwiCo. KiwiCo creates fun, hands-on activities to engage kids of all ages in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math. These crates, delivered monthly to your door, engage not only your kids' hands in building stuff, but also their minds in problem solving along the way. These are the kind of things that I would have loved as a kid. And having built 4 of them, I'm impressed not just with the wonderful engineering behind each one, but also the completeness. Everything you need, from kid-friendly instructions to tools and materials, even that one rubber band, is already in the box. In addition, each project is truly built to last and is rigorously kid tested to make sure it is fun. And these are built to play with over and over and over again. They will not just be sitting on a shelf. KiwiCo sent us a few crates as samples, and I thought I would give you just a little bit of a peek into what you can expect as a subscriber. Here are 3 new ones: electroluminescent sculptures, a delivery bot, and Trashket Ball. Yes, a wastebasket that you can actually play Trashket Ball. I feel like this is a personal snub because I never hit the basket ever here in the cave. But in this, you get a lovely injection molded basket rim here. Like I said, everything you need. That is such a cute little screwdriver. Oh my gosh. These kits often go home with our tested family because there are now 5 young ones, all under the age of 7 among the tested crew. Avery plays with these, right, Norm?
He loves them.
Absolutely loves them. All right. As part of this sponsorship, KiwiCo is giving a special offer to tested viewers. Use the code TESTED to get 50% off your first club crate when you join any club for kids aged 3 and up. Go to kiwico.com/tested to take advantage of this. And now, back to the video. But this comprises the total of the non-mechanical compasses that I use in the shop. And now I'm going to talk to you about some of the mechanical and even electronic compasses. Compasses. This right here is one of my all-time favorites. This is simply an inclinometer in which the weight drops its little arrow to the bottom and gives you a really great reading. This is magnetic. I first used one of these at Industrial Light and Magic, went out and bought myself one. I've used this a crap ton in the cave and in general carpentry. There are some pitch angle calculators on the back. I have never used that. Right, this is all about rise and run for rafters and stairs and stuff like that. I love this thing. This one is made by Empire. There are several different makers of these kinds of inclinometers. And as a reward at the end of this video, I have a magnificent inclinometer to show you, but I'm going to show you some other practical stuff first. Getting into the mechanical aspects of angle measurement, I found this guy years ago. Who makes this? Wow, I've Greeked the logo so hard. We will find out who makes this. But this is an electronic angle finder. It has a pair of levels built in, so you can make sure it's level, and then you can open the arm, and digitally it will read out to you the angle difference between the arm and the straight. Amazingly useful. This is a wonderful device that has saved my ass a few times, and it goes all the way around to 186. Yep. So it goes 6.5 degrees over what it needs to do a full 180. Recently, however, I discovered an even more useful inclinometer, which is one of these guys. And this is this is digital, and it's magnetic. So when you increase the angle on this, it will tell you, yes, it will tell you to 1/100th of a degree exactly what the angle is. These I use on my mill. The issue is that each time I use these, my mill is built on a wooden floor, which means it moves a little bit, and it means that I can't ever quite get it perfectly level because there's a little bit of a shift in there. If it was bolted to a concrete floor and it was perfectly level, this would be a fantastic way to find angles to cut. And there's actually, I found a second one a couple of years ago, and this one not only does angles depending on what orientation you place it, but it also has a level. It also has a level, which is crazy, that actually works for testing for levelness. Yeah, a bubble level effectively. These are all fantastic ways of getting close to an angle. And when I say close, let's talk about degrees here. So on this compass, it is 360 degrees. And so it is marked by half degrees. There's 360 markings all the way around here, and there's a mark in between those 360 marks, 720 for half degrees. But half degree is not nearly high enough resolution for mission critical angles. These will read to 1/100th of a degree, but 1/60th of a degree is an arc minute, and 1/60th of that is an arc second. So an arc second is 1/3600th of a degree. Yeah. When you need that kind of precision in machining, and you would need this for something, actually, I'll show you, hold on. A lot of machine tools use tapers. This is a Morse 2 taper. And when I say Morse 2 taper, that's a value that you can look up and replicate so that you can make parts that will fit a Morse 2 taper sleeve. But when you want to cut this Morse taper, this isn't nearly good enough. This gets you in the ballpark, but the specific mechanical properties of a taper are that it contacts across the whole taper. Ultra precision is radically important. And in those cases, you would use one of these beautiful little babies. This is called a sine bar. And a sine bar is a bar that is remarkably parallel, and it has only 2 contact points, these ground cylinders at the bottom. And when I have a sine bar, I have an angle I want to hit. With this 5-inch sine bar, I can, hold on, come on. With this 5-inch sine bar, I can look up on a table what angle I want, and it will tell me within 1,000th of an inch how far to support this side to get that angle. And it's got to stop here. So this is you can use this to set up a taper on the lathe or on the mill, and it is stupidly accurate. Tom Lipton over at Oxo Tools did what do you call it? Like a contest of all different ways of adjusting the compound slide of a lathe to cut a taper. And like one of them is just putting a taper in the chuck of the lathe and reading your micrometer to that. which is a great way to set your taper level. Tom found that the sine bar was even more accurate than that method for setting a taper on the lathe. This is the high precision aircraft like space industry level of angle finding. I have yet to use this in the cave. I've yet to have a mission critical application for my sine bar, but the moment I learned that they existed, I had to put them in my collection. And dude, this will give you all these degrees. Oh my God. 9 degrees all the way up, 1, 2, 3 to 45? Yes. Wow. So this chart will give you any one of the degrees up to 45 down to arc minutes, down to 1/60th of a degree. Yeah. And I promised a surprise at the ending here, which was not a surprise, but a reward, which was I was watching, oh, I'm so sorry. I want to point out that Tom Lipton actually built his own sine bar as a laser cut steel measuring tool for the shop. And he sent me one because this actually, here we go. He showed me exactly how to set it up and use it. This actually has a fairly high degree of accuracy. And those 2 cylinders you saw on the other sine bar, that's the bottom of one and that's the bottom of the other. Tom has designed his own OXO Tools sine bar. And this lives with the other sine bar here. Thank you, Tom. All right, I was watching, I can't even remember what channel I was watching, but they broke out an inclinometer of such surpassing beauty that I went onto eBay and found one for about 75 bucks. Oh God, I wish you could smell this. I think the smell I'm smelling is cosmoline, which is like a some sort of protectant that's often on old military hardware. Or it could be the way that oil rots slowly. It's such a good smell. Okay, enough of my huffing the machine tools. This is an inclinometer. It has up top a level. It has a level, and then it has this readout here. And look at this readout. Look at how beautiful that is. And this will go, this is a very, very, very precise machine. Yeah. This is absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And I bought this not because I need it in the cave, but because some of these old machine tools, look at this. Look at this. This goes to the arc minute. So incredibly precise, so incredibly beautiful, and frankly, gorgeous hand feel. There used to be a website called Knob Feel. I don't think they're around anymore, but they reviewed like knobs of stereos and other kinds of equipment. I would submit this is a lovely bit of knob feel for this inclinometer. This is a Watts 90-degree clinometer, not inclinometer, clinometer. Look at this gorgeous thing. Yeah. Anyway, that's my favorite inclinometer here in the cave. Let's see, my table's not close to level. Oh, that's actually, yeah, that is pretty close to level. If I have missed something here in angle finding, please let me know in the comments. The fact is, for any given project in which I need to transfer an angle, any one of these might be useful. Over time, a workshop builds up multiple solutions to the same problem because each solution might have its own limitations and each measuring device might get there. And if there, again, like I said, if there's something I missed, please let us know in the comments. I'd love to know about some angle finders I don't yet know about. Thank you guys for joining me for this little tool roundup. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. We have some brand new merch to tell you about because while life is full of unsolvable puzzles, we are going to sell you a solvable puzzle. We have 3 puzzle sizes now available at adamsavage.com. 120 piece, 240 piece, and this 16 by 20, 500 piece puzzle of my cave. Yes. I got to tell you, I can't wait to actually try this out. Again, you can buy this right now at adamsavage.com.